Time is now 7 o'clock. I'll call the school committee meeting to order. First item on the agenda is Pledge Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. The glasses help a little bit. Next item on the agenda is Citizens Forum. I don't see anybody here to speak tonight, so we'll move to the next item is the consent agenda. That's minutes of June 26, July 24, and then bill schedules of June 27, June 29, July 13, July 20, August 2nd, August 9th. There's two, August 16 and August 24. Look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I just have one item related to the minutes of June 26. If you look in there, on the fifth item, there was a note regarding the discussion around the fields. And I just wanted to make it clear in the minutes that the discussion was related to a conflict with the field use and communication needed to make sure people knew who was using the field and when. And so that was a question the committee brought, and that was answered. If folks are okay, I would try to shorten that up. So bear with me.
So essentially, any school sports override any non-school sports.
Yeah, and we had the response back. So it's what we had in here was the policy around what is done. So I think what I would like to do just on that agenda item fifth was said would say the athletic director responded back to a question from the committee regarding the conflict with the sports field with the baseball field in question of policy.
Great.
And it's on camera, so we can catch that in the minutes. Without any objection on that amendment, I would just ask for a vote on all of it, the as changed 2 minutes and all of the, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 4-0. Now I gotta close one and then go back. Next item on the agenda is the FY 17-18 budget update.
Okay, so right now, I gave you the end balance of our revolving accounts. Nancy and the business manager and Tim Harrison have been working over the summer, closing out the books for last year, and that's been the main focus over the summer. They need to close out the books. So on Friday, they finished closing out the books, and we will bring to you at our next meeting the formal document that you will vote for the closing of the books. But to just give you kind of a snapshot of what we're talking about, there are two areas that we were able to maintain healthy balances in. One is circuit breaker, which is like 4 down, and then the other one is school choice. So what we budgeted this year under school choice was $329,000. We had considerable savings in a number of areas, including legal services, energy, electricity, busing, out-of-district placements. And so we actually did not have to expend any of the $329,000. So that remains in that line item. And so we now have a balance to start this year of $674,000. Now, please understand, people new to the committee, over the summer, once the books are closed, any bills that come to us from last year will come out of school choice, and that happens all the time. We just had one recently come in, forget what it was today that was brought to my attention. So there'll be probably small amounts that come out of this, but that's where it comes out. So we have a very good, healthy balance there. The other area that is circuit breaker. So we're able to use less money and be able to put back into circuit breaker $74,000 to have a balance at the end of this year of $233,000 with an anticipated receivable of about $400,000 this year. We're very confident we should get about $400,000. So between the 233 and the $400,000, we easily cover what we anticipated spending this year of $475,000. So those are good, healthy balances. Overall, we didn't expend about just over 2% of last year's budget. So we did very, very well. But I think part of that is we're just constantly in a conservation mode. So that's kind of the update of last year. We'll have that formally for you. And as far as this year goes, we're still in the hiring process of hiring all of our IAs, putting in their salaries. So we'll probably bring you the budget update for this fiscal year where we are right at this given moment, probably the second meeting in September. We can have it for you, but it probably is not going to be as accurate as we would like. And so we would probably wait until then. There's no surprises there. It's just the transition from last fiscal year to this fiscal year.
And really the first in October, if we didn't see it, you got to get a couple of weeks into the year, I would think. Before
I would say that would probably be the best way to handle maybe, that first meeting in October.
I'd almost prefer with the subcommittees and whatnot to talk through that before we even
Great.
worry too much, unless others are.
Sounds good.
October 2nd then,
I don't know if you have any questions for me. There was a question about school revolving account. So facilities use. So we do charge for facilities use. There's a fee structure in place. And there are categories of how we charge people. If you're a town program and it's nonprofit, it's free except if it's on the weekends, but there's a whole series. But this past year, we brought in $34,000 in revenue. Our expenses were $17,000, and we had a carryover of $20,000. So we have a nice little pocket of money of $37,583 in our building use. But in revolving accounts like this, you have to use those funds for specific purposes. So we need to repair something in the auditorium. You take money from there. There's some damage in a classroom where someone was using the facility, but it has to be directly tied to what we use. So really, that's an area where we can use money in a variety of ways, but it has to be directly toward the facility.
And you have had to pull, as you said, I think maybe the curtain had to be repaired once, and so it's not bad to have a little bit of money in there.
It's really good. It's healthy.
So there's no, like, damage, I don't know, deposit that you take or anything
Well,
like that, or do you?
security deposit.
So,
right?
thank you,
Yeah,
security deposit.
we're requiring that now.
Okay.
And again, most people are very respective, but things happen.
Yeah.
Things break. And, but we have a number of nice little balances that we had depleted that we're slowly building back up again, which is nice. But it will lead to further conversation when we start the next budget cycle.
So you break out the middle school theater separate from the school facilities use, just?
Well, the middle school theater and the high school theater are their own revolving accounts.
Okay.
So the $16,000 you see in the high school theater, that's down to about $5,000. They
Right.
just spent over the summer they're going to do a musical. And so they've purchased, and so that's really their own. I don't touch that.
Yep.
The school committee doesn't touch that money. They have a play, they sell tickets, they build up their reserve, and they use that to pay for plays and things of that nature.
So that's completely separate from the school facilities use?
It is, completely.
Except that they get to use the facilities for free.
Yes.
They do. And so when you look at these balances, if you take a look, this was as of June 30th. So summer camp has $40,000. Summer camp does not have $40,000 remaining in the balance because payroll came out of that. But there is a healthy balance in summer camp. Again, summer camp can only be used to support facilities and so forth.
Questions?
No.
No.
The next item on the agenda is presenting the 2017-18 notice of meetings. I don't think there's any super changes there. Everybody have a chance to go through?
Yeah, as expected.
There you go.
So basically, the basic structure, though, is the first Monday of every month is a school committee meeting, and then the third Monday of every month or thereabouts is a second meeting as needed, so the committee knows. And we generally always,
Habit.
and we generally always
Sorry,
need
I
that.
gotta laugh because it's just become habit. You have it, you use it.
Sometimes we have a third meeting.
Yes, just add to the fun.
The website was gonna change a bit, or is this schedule now posted on the current website?
We are about to convert over to our new website.
Right.
And then we had some glitches with our technology and our phone lines, and so that's going to happen, but that'll be placed on the website, correct?
On to item 7 is establishment of subcommittees. And we'd had some discussion in the retreat. We had 2 subcommittees for certain that we were, what I'd like to do is set them up and move relatively quickly. Although, as you may recall in the meeting, in the summer meeting, we did talk about, we're locked and loaded this year. We've got a budget that we're working to. The two subcommittees we talked about were communication as well as budgeting. The communication piece is kind of the who, what, when, how do we talk to, how do we present, and it's an effort to look back at, are there strategies that we should be considering? And then the budget piece, I look at as 2 pieces. One, we've got the current budget or the next fiscal year budget that we've used traditionally, and as happens every year, we talk about are there more effective ways to communicate and understand that. I think we've gotten a little bit more serious as we've gotten a better handle on that, about what also can and should we be doing long term. Can we be looking out 3 years, 5 years, and how does that present itself? What I'm hoping is we can get Pete and Nate, if you guys can take a look at communication, and then I'd ask Bruce and Kristen to look at the budget piece. If we split up that way, we can move a little faster. You two can meet as groups. But I would hope we do it sort of in the second meeting in September kind of timeframe. That
Okay.
if that, and what we'd be looking for is come back. We'll put some time on the agenda. Come back with some suggestions, ideas, thoughts. What have you come to? It might not be, here's what we'd like to do. It might simply be, here's what we're looking at skeleton-wise. Is that the right direction? What I'd rather do is come back in a month with something that we can talk to and change, rather than say, by the end of the year, can you all have a presentation for us?
Sounds good.
That's a great idea. I think our hope when we talked on the summer retreat was that, we would get started on this pretty quick, and it's something that maybe even we start to action this year.
Right.
And really roll
I
out,
think in
so-
the
Get it rolling.
communication piece, we can for sure. I think 3 and 5 year out budget-wise.
Yep.
If folks come back and say, we've had a chance to take a look and we've got some good ideas, then we get on camera with the full committee talking through it. So there's be time for
Be great.
feedback there.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only other subcommittee I'm inclined to create and label as a subcommittee is DLT, and I really hope Kristen will stay and take that for us. I think she's been
Yeah,
an
been
active
there
participant there.
Wow.
And I would encourage, I know everybody's busy, but if we could get us, the work we're doing right now is very, very important, and it's centered around diversity, and I think it's appropriate this time. We got a grant this year through the high school. We're doing some really good work around that, and in truth, it doesn't just have to be school committee, but anybody can join us. We've got a room for 80 people, and we invite community members. It's really.
I love going
It's
to
really
those
good.
things.
It's a nice think tank.
It's typically been Tuesday nights, right?
Yeah, I've got a.
Tuesdays at 6.
Yeah. I know when
So
I've
what-
talked with any parents that have been involved, they've been really pleased with it. I think my wife might have attended one last year, and she just
My wife
was
went to a
very impressed and I would love to try to do it. I'm just hesitant. I didn't do such a good job last year, so.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
But
But it is new, and
Did you
I know,
switch with me
Ted,
when you
you
got here?
mentioned before the open nature, that while we're asking Kristen to come, and I'd like her to be able to come back and talk about
Yes.
what's going on.
Mhm.
As you said, anybody who's in the community who wants to participate.
And we're starting up early. The first meeting will be probably toward the end of September.
Was anybody else wondering why I didn't have formed the subcommittee on better snacks or?
Because we already have one.
Yeah, we need snacks.
Excellent. Item number 8 is appointment of the superintendent to serve on the Southern Worcester County Educational Collaborative. Did I get that right?
Southern Worcester County Educational Collaborative.
Kind of slurred the collaborative piece, but boy, that was an awful lot. So you're not going to, you're not going to step in and chair again?
I'm not chairing, however, there is almost half of the superintendents in these districts are now new. So, I'll probably have to do some assisting, but there's not really a lot to this. But with such a turnover of superintendents, we need some consistency and some history with the collaborative.
And I guess just a reminder for the community, this one, really anybody could be appointed, but typically for every district, it ends up being the superintendent, right?
Correct. But if
So-
one of you wanted to do it, you could. There are some very few school committee members, but
I
it's,
personally really appreciate you doing it.
Yes, we do.
This does require a motion and a second.
I move to appoint Superintendent Fred to serve on the Southern Worcester County Education Collaborative Board as presented.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carries 4-0.
Congratulations.
thank you.
Congratulations. It's, I think everybody's heard, but if you haven't heard, it's a useful collaborative. We use just a small piece of it, but it's,
Right. We have a little bit more now, but there are, what was established many years ago are 26 collaboratives across the state, and they're special education collaboratives because when you're a small district like ours, you may have some students with special needs issues that are singleton cases that need specialized instruction that we can't provide. So they form these collaboratives. They're designed to keep the cost down for special education, and they serve a real purpose. So, it's worthwhile, and the collaborative is in very good financial footing at this time, and we have a very good director. So it's a very good service.
a piece that others may not have seen, but certainly some number of years ago, you spent some time, more time maybe than you would have liked, getting them on a financially stable space, which is
Yeah, so we had a little bit of an issue for a while, but it's really well organized at this time.
Item number 9 is the superintendent's update.
First of all, I'd like to thank, our business is kind of funny. For 10 weeks, all the kids in school year people go away, but there's a whole group of people that work all summer, the custodians, the administrative assistants, the technology department, and if you go through our building today, like many elementary parents did, the building is beautiful. They did an amazing job. The classroom lists are updated for the teachers. We deliver all their classroom supplies to the classrooms. Our technology up until Thursday was running beautifully, and then something happened, and now we have a little glitch with the phone system, which is affecting our technology, but they're working on it right now. Dan's still back at the school, and so we've got another day to kind of sort that out. But they did a great job, and, oftentimes we take these people for granted that, and it's going to be a little, their job doesn't end. They just keep going, so I really appreciate all they do for us. We've hired all of our positions. We've hired all staff. Just so the community knows, we did add one half-time preschool teaching position that was new, and that was due to the enrollment numbers for incoming preschoolers. We do have a tuition that offsets that a little bit. And then any other additions are just related to instructional assistance by IEPs, legal requirements to provide services for students on IEPs. We did have a little bit of issue in hiring this year. The economy is very, very strong, and we offered jobs to 5 or 6 instructional assistants who turned it down based on our pay. So that is something down the road we're going to have to address as a committee and as a community. But we did fill all the positions, and we're ready to start day one. Another thing I want to point out, and I've shared this with the committee on a number of times, the benefit of the stability of our administrators. When you look at our team, we have been, our shortest tenured principal is entering her 4th year, but she's been in the district for 20 years. The next shortest tenure is 5 years, and that person's been in the district for 20 years. We have a solid team of administrators, and it makes my job easier, quite frankly. But what it does is provide consistency for our district, our teachers, our students. It's made such a difference for our district. So, I think everybody's happy. I think we're going to continue to have the staff going forward, and it makes a big difference. Technology over the summer. We had a lot that took place this summer. We built 2 new computer labs in our school district. We built a new computer lab in the middle school and a new computer lab in our elementary school. We also purchased 30 new tablets for our high school, middle school library for kids to be able to sign in and out during the school day. The tablets that we first purchased, I think they're 3 years old. We took those tablets, reconditioned them, and those are placed in individual teachers' classrooms that have programs that go to the computer labs all the time. So by them having those tablets, they don't need to go to the computer labs as often. We added 2 new smart boards in our elementary early learning center. We also added 20 cameras to our middle high school. Now our entire campus has the full complement of cameras that we intended to have through the building project.
What type of cameras are those?
These are all cameras in the hallway.
Surveillance cameras.
Surveillance
Yeah,
cameras,
not-
yes. No, surveillance cameras. They run on a loop and they stay.
Yep.
I think they last for about 14 days or 20 days, and then they loop through. I want to point out, all of this is out of the capital fund. So this is all part of the capital fund through the town, which you greatly appreciate, the support of the town for these funds. So we have a pretty solid technology school district. We have all our computers are cycled through every 3 or 4 years, so we're in very, very good shape there. The other good news on the capital front is the bid for the boilers for our early learning center. We have 2 boilers in the early learning center. Jim Smith did an amazing job. He got a $150,000 grant. And we also have $100,000 earmarked through the capital fund for this project. The boilers came in at $125,000. And so what Jim plans to do is put out the bid either later this year or early next year to also replace the 2 boilers in the elementary school using these funds. I share this with you because it's possible that it'll cost more, and I may look to the committee if need be to maybe use a little bit of our school choice funds if we needed a little bit more money to make that happen. But what a difference that'll make to have our elementary and early learning center with 4 brand new boilers, energy efficient, hitting new energy efficient guidelines. So that is going to take place. In the spring, the paving for the sidewalk in front of the early learning center elementary school, it has to be done. The timing of the bid didn't work for this summer, so they're going to put that out to bid this spring, and we'll repave those and set that all up so that we've really made great progress in updating and maintaining our school district. Just one other thing, having a partner like Jim Smith is great. Calls me one day and he says, "Hey, you need to update those lines in the parking lot." I didn't even notice. And so Roger called Matt over at the highway department. We paid for the paint. They came in, repainted all the lines in our
good.
parking lot. So kudos to Jim Smith and Matt at the highway department, Matt Stencil. So I thank them for that. And then finally, school begins on Wednesday. The students arrive, and it's about time. We need some kids in the building. So that's what I have tonight.
No, I think it's great. It's another great example of how well the town supports the school and how nice it is that we're able to work across committees and departments, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Ted, is there a person in mind for a resource officer from the town?
So I'm glad you asked that. So today we met with Dave Perry, Lieutenant Perry. So right now the police department is down several officers, and right now town's having real difficulty finding police officers. It's a pretty significant problem. So they're down 4, and so we met today to talk about, well, how are we going to bridge the gap? So chances are we're not going to have a full-time school resource officer for many, many months. However, they're going to loop in, we met today, how they can support the school, how we're going to work that out as we go forward. So permanent one in place probably, I think realistically won't be until after the first of the year.
Other questions?
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is new business agenda items, action items.
I'll make a motion.
MASC conference, did we come to a conclusion there? I suspect Di is very patiently waiting for us to answer when we said we would.
Talk about it.
Oh, that's
And
right.
I'm only picking because I haven't answered her yet
I haven't
either.
No.
But I know, again, in the summer meetings, we had talked about, we have not done it in a while. It's been several years. It's usually I haven't looked at the agenda. I don't know, have you seen?
I have not seen it.
Can you remind me of the dates?
Early November.
Yeah, it's right, I think
It's the
that
first week of November. It's
Yeah,
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We've typically done Thursday,
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah,
Thursday's usually the day that is the most beneficial.
yep.
Wednesday's kind of like a welcoming
Yeah.
dinner
There's
sort
a
of
lot of
thing.
other
Wednesday
stuff
starts in
going
the
on.
afternoon.
Yeah, so it's,
Yes.
it's really Thursday.
So it's the 1st through the 4th.
Yep. Depending on what the sessions are, it has been beneficial in the past
Yeah.
to, one, get material, content, presentations, but also to meet with some other school committee members from,
And they must
Yeah.
have the, I don't want to say, events listed on
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm just
site. Can
actually looking
can
to
I
see.
ask that folks try to take a look at that? And can we get answers by the end of, for Di for next Monday? It gives you a week and a weekend.
If we get it in by the 1st, we save $50.
Well, okay, well, hey,
Someone's
that is something.
that's
We'll take
50
it.
times 5 potentially.
Yeah,
So let me take your weekend away and say, can you get an answer to Di
yeah.
for Thursday morning, this Thursday morning?
And so the plan would be for us all to meet down there, say Thursday morning.
Mhm.
Just get up in the morning, go down there.
Honestly, I've never stayed down. I just drive down and back.
Yeah.
It's a long ride, but we can.
Okay.
That's nice.
Like
They have
that.
an app for it too, in case you're
Oh.
looking for that. Because I was looking for the information on the conference, but
So it'd be the 2nd? Thursday
Yeah.
the 2nd, okay.
All right. So Thursday.
I'm doing David Proudy's NEASC
Oh,
the weekend before that, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm actually looking forward to it. Should be interesting.
The only other item, and you've mentioned it, but the buildings and the grounds. I had a chance to go today. Just it looked great. Looks
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
Teachers were smiling. It's a lot of fun when they come in. The noise coming into the auditorium, talking. I think many of them are ready to start school also.
I
Yeah, and I
think
can-
they,
I can only speak for like the 2nd, 3rd, 4th graders that I saw. They were so happy to be back and seeing their friends, and just teachers are all glowing. It's really, really
Yeah,
cool.
It's exciting. Next item on the agenda is a motion to adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing contract negotiations and an employee matter, and we would not return to open session.
so moved.
second.
This is a roll call vote.
Top side.
Jerome, I.
Brennan, aye.
Clark, aye.
4-0. Go to executive session. Thanks, everyone.